What's up, family? You guys remember Domino from the 90s? He had a couple hit songs. Well, he was born in St. Louis, but he was raised in Long Beach, California. But St. Louis still claimed him as their own. As you're already aware, the 90s had a big influx of Crips and Bloods in both St. Louis and LA. So being a Crip himself, he auditioned for the Bloods and Crips project in the early 1990s. And if you guys remember that song, Bangin on Wax, he was actually the first rapper on that track. And this is before he went solo with his solo project, which he titled Domino after his name. And a couple of the major hits included Getto Jam, which reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. And my favorite off the album was Sweet Potato Pie. We used to bump that back in the day in St. Louis. The album was produced by both Domino and DJ Battlecat, and little known fact, AMG is actually on the last song on the album. So after his debut album, Domino went on to score several more hits and appearances on 1996 Red Hot Organization compilation CD, which included Biz Markie, Wu-Tang Clan, and Fat Joe. And in case you didn't know, he was also on some soundtracks like The Show, The Mask, Clueless, Blank Man, which is one of my favorites. Tales from the Hood, and Spooky House. So back in the early 90s, some people thought that Domino was taking the style from Snoop Dogg. I don't think they really sound that similar. I just think he had a West Coast sound, but I don't think he was, trying to mimic Snoop Dogg in any way.
You know what it was? To tell you the truth, I was a better freestyler than a rapper. So when I got to junior high school, I met a kid named Shawn. He was 1 grade under me, and me and him used to rap. And me and Shawn kind of like formulated a group. And Shawn, we would go to his house because he had like lightweight equipment and shit. And Shawn would write the songs that we would perform at school, like the next day. He was the writer and I was just a freestyler. So he would write shit and then we would perform it. So one day we was in a battle and we was doing the shit that we performed. And it wasn't working and we was losing. And this nigga was fucking us up. So I jump off the script and just start freestyling. And I keep us in the battle. But then I run out of freestyle. I'm like, we not ready yet. But at the same time, just to give you the long and the end of the story, the Shawn that I'm talking about became Domino. Domino used to write for me in junior high school. So we was a group.
So after the success of his first album, Domino, he did release a second album called Physical Funk, but this album did not get a lot of promotion. It was really due to some behind the scenes things happening at Def Jam. Russell Simmons owned that record label and they end up dropping the label that he was on called Outburst Records. And this happened before the album was released. So since those days of Bangin on Wax and Sweet Potato Pie, he is a born again Christian and he still does music. He did release another album called Freaked It. This was back in 2001. So let me know if you heard that album and if you like any songs off that album. But yeah, let me know if you remember Domino. Leave in the comments if you liked any of his music, if you used to bump it back in the day. Even though he had LA sound, he did have some St. Louis sound in him too. Leave it in the comments and let me know what you think, if he was trying to sound like Snoop Dogg or not. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and set your notifications. Peace, family.